Hello there and welcome back to another review. Today we're going to be having a look at another movie from the Joseph Keogh box set, Cinematic Vengeance. We're going to be having a look at World of Drunken Master today. Made back in 1979, of course, being sort of a rip-off of sorts of, obviously, Drunken Master, sort of capitalising on that whole, Jackie Chan Drunken Master things. There was a lot of imitators of Drunken Master. There was a lot of, knockoffs, spin-offs, almost remakes, if you will. Sort of cashing in on the Drunken Master phenomenon here. And we're going to say that film was made the year before from Jackie Chan and Yuen Woo-ping. And anytime, like with anything, anytime a big movie happens, anytime a film sort of breaks traditions and is a big, a bit of a phenomenon, there's going to be knockoffs and spin-offs, and this film sort of is no exception. Such is the nature of the world, and like I say, any medium you're in, that is what's going to happen. Once something makes money, then everyone wants a slice of the pie, don't they? And why not? If you feel like there's money to be made, if that's what you think you've got a chance, then I say, such is the nature of the world. So the film stars two of Joseph Keogh's regulars in Lee Yi-min and Jack Long, who I will mention. Jack Long is probably one of the best kung fu performers, or the most underrated kung fu performers you will ever see. I think he's a phenomenal martial artist, and some of the stuff is, especially in some of the Joseph Keogh vehicles, most notably sort of 7 Grandmasters, but expect this film as well. If you look at Jack Long and some of the Lee Yi-min, very talented as well, but especially Jack Long, incredible performer, really wonderful kung fu martial artist, at least definitely one of the most underrated ones. Had a really pivotal, amazing role in 7 Grandmasters, but that is for another day. 7 Grandmasters. I'm working my way up to that film because I absolutely love that movie. So from the Joseph Keogh box set, I probably will review that last because it'd be a bit of a treat to me. So I'm sort of saving it till the end. What we get in this film is pretty much the origin of the Beggar So character, played by Simon Yun Soo Tin. The whole idea is sort of, let's have sort of Beggar So in his early days. That is sort of the whole gimmick for the movie, which is quite an interesting take. That's quite an interesting idea. So played by Simon Yun Soo Tin, as I say, in Drunken Master. He himself, Simon Yun, actually appears in this film, if only for about a minute. 2 minutes, if that, only at the start of the movie, doing some sort of drunken boxing and then he just disappears, which is a real shame, as it would have been nice to see him featured more prominently in the movie. But I think he may have done it because he knew one of the stunt directors or something like that, sort of a favour, because obviously he was in the original Drunken Master. He wouldn't have just Don the Beggar. So it just gives the film a little bit more credibility, the fact that Simon Yun has made a little appearance here. And what's interesting here is Lee Yi-min plays the young Beggar So, and someone else plays the older one, right? Which is, I don't know why they couldn't just put Lee Yi-min in older makeup. Whereas Jack Long's character, he plays the older version of his character and the younger one. But Lee Yi-min only plays the younger one, but he doesn't play the older one, if that makes sense. Like, why they couldn't just put old eyebrows and things on him like they did with Jack Long's character, I have no idea. Not sure why they couldn't just, like I say, give him the old age makeup like they did with Jack Long. Speaking of Jack Long, it's a great film that showcases as well, like talking about him as a performer, it really does showcase his comedy talents as well, both as an actor and performer. Usually Jack Long's in very serious roles. He's usually in quite somewhat serious kung fu movies. He was one of these people, he never really got deservedly where he should be in terms of like a sort of classic status, but he is a phenomenal, as I say, a really amazing martial artist. So as mentioned, the film opens with Yun Soo Tin as Beggar So performing some drunken boxing, which does give the film almost like a seal of approval, if you will. If one of the original stars makes an appearance of the film, it's sort of expanding based on that So character. Jack Long's character his character is called Fan Tao Pei, along with the Beggar So. They were like the best students of drunken boxing. So you have this new character who Jack Long plays, and the Beggar character, and they were sort of were the best students at Drunken Boxing. And Fantopay is sort of remembering the girl from the past, and then he sort of gets challenged, as people often do in these movies. You'll be just chilling out, relaxing. If you've got any talent or skill whatsoever in Kung Fu and martial arts, you're going to get challenged, right? So this guy just sort of approaches him, gets warned that this guy may come looking for him as he killed the head of their school and that he doesn't have much time left or something along them lines. So Fan beats this guy and has a drink and gets taken on by Beggar. So they recognise and start to realise it's each other, and now the film goes into a flashback. Joseph Kerr obviously had a thing for this, because like I say, if you look at Return of 18 Bronzeman, that's in flashback. This film as well is in flashback. And I think it just mixes things up a bit, just gives the film a bit more substance in the story. Let's look what happened before, which is basically for the most part of the movie where we spend our time in this flashback. We go to the two youths who are like competing in the market, Jack Long and Lee Yi-min, and they're sort of selling grapes, which they've only been getting as they've been sort of stealing them. So they've been stealing these grapes from the local vineyard and things like that, and they're just getting these grapes because they want to sell them, make some money. They're sort of like hustlers, so to speak. Quite a funny scene where they're both sort of giving them away, and they're trying to compete with each other, and they keep getting less and less, obviously wanting people to buy their grapes, and then they both end up just sort of giving them away free, because it's like, right, I'll better you, I'll just give mine away, because they're such as their competition, and how much they sort of want to better each other. So the whole story is just them and why and how they learn sort of drunken boxing. Of course, because of their rivalry in the market, it leads to them having a punch-up, as these things often do. They end up bumping into each other at night when they are both at the vineyard stealing some grapes. Ends up with them basically getting caught by the owner, Chang, I believe his name is, and they go to work for the guy so we can basically pay off the debt. I mean, they don't get a bad deal, right? They get caught stealing these grapes. And he's like, right, work for me. You've got to pay off your debt because, you've been stealing my grapes. And he's like, I'll also teach you some drunken boxing as well. So it's not too shabby of a deal. I do think that Jack Long and Lee Yi-min have a great chemistry together in this movie. And like I say, they were both Joseph Kerr regulars. And as you would expect with a drunken master theme movie, where there are moments of comedy, there are moments of like slapstick. It's not played dead serious. And like I say, the two characters in this, the two leads, really do work well together. And they do have a great energy about them. Lee Yi-min and Jack Long, they really do sort of bounce off each other quite well as sort of the two main leads here. For example, when they're being given cornbread because they are starving, and their master swaps it with mud balls, little things like that just keep, sort of that childish slapstick humour that we come accustomed to in so many kung fu movies. What is quite interesting with the movie, yes, it's a drunken master theme, but it doesn't follow, where you have to give the film a lot of credit, is it doesn't follow the same beats as sort of the original Drunken Master, which had been very easy to do, because like I say, that template's been copied. The Snake and Eagle Shadow / Drunken Master template has been copied so many times. Joseph Coe could have easily done that. He could have easily said, right, let's do sort of, we know the sort of the narrative, the structure of the story, where we can have a fight, where we can do this, but here they do something different, and for that the film does deserve a bit of praise, because they're not playing it safe, and they're not following the same plot points and plot beats as what the original Drunken Master did. So we have to have some villains, and here we have some bad guys turn up who are wanting their protection money. I mean, it's always about protection money. They've all got a protection racket going on. I mean, you have to hand it to these two. I mean, they're very chivalrous, the pair of them. When they go to teach, they're like, let's go and teach them a lesson. Let's teach these guys a lesson. And they're all confident and cocky and want to do the right thing, but they get their asses kicked, right? They get their asses they completely handed to them, right? They didn't stand a chance. So we cut to them next all in bandages, again, keeping the comedy happening, and their master agrees to teach them the 18 moves of the Drunken Immortal, sort of that whole drunken gods thing that happened in Drunken Master. And there's some nice fun training sequences here. Here the like elastic ropes and some really, when you watch it, it's really clever stuff. It really is quite elaborate, clever stuff. One of my favourite scenes in the movie, at least being one of the funniest, is where they're both like, they're sleeping, and they're sleeping with like other people who work for this guy, and they're all sleeping in like this sort of area, but they're sort of punching and kicking in their sleep because they just can't stop. Like it just really, they're beating up their work colleagues in their sleep. You have to actually watch it to see how funny it is. It's probably, I burst out laughing when I saw it. They are sort of laying down. they're laying down next to these other people, but they're sort of doing all these shapes and forms, and they're like punching people next to them, they're rolling over them and things, all with their eyes closed as well, which is quite funny, proving how much the training has got to them. So our villain here is an expert in eagle claw and learns that the master from the winery knows Drunken kung fu, invites him over for dinner so he can ambush him. Some nice acrobatic and bow staff work here, and our two heroes sort of save him. Like a lot of Joseph Koh movies, it does jump around a little bit. One minute you're here, then you're there, and sort of doesn't always, you have to sometimes think, hang on, wait a minute, how did we get there? Or when did that happen? And things like that, which do sometimes happen, unfortunately, in some of the Joseph Koh movies. He invites him over so he can sort of ambush him, and like they save him. So the film goes from owner of the winery being annoyed because like he's renting it to Taipei upsetting Yulu, to the bad guys looking for Chang and his jade cup, to our heroes confronting them all in a space of like a minute. There's a lot. This is what I'm saying. There's 1 minute there's this girl involved. Then she's got upset. Then the bad guys are looking for the owner. Then 1 minute they want to find where this jade cup is. And this all happens in the space of like 2 minutes. There seems to be about 4 different plot threads happening at one point in the movie. They want Master Chang and decide to tear down the winery, basically. So they've just got a grudge against this guy. The film does jump around here and there, as I mentioned. As you can probably tell, it's like I say, you've got one thing going on, then there's another thing, then there's another thing, and then something else. The film does jump around, but what saves it is the fight scenes. They're really fast, they're really fun, and like I mentioned, Jack Long and Lee Yee-min work really well together. There's some inventive stuff with the training scenes, which really does spice up the movie quite a lot. So Chang gets stabbed and they go, and all 4 of them, including Chang's daughter, go and hide in the mountains. Such a funny line when the bad guy, I always remember when the bad guys are looking for them, and one of the assistants says, "I know there is a cave up there, that they must be there." Like, that's his incentive for thinking that's where they're hiding. He's like, there's a cave up there, that's where they must be. You know, there's a cave. They could be anywhere. You know, he just suddenly thinks, yeah, that cave that's like, you know, that 8-mile trek up the mountains, that's got to be where they are. No, he has no reason to suspect that's where they are. He just has this sense, they almost, like I say, sixth sense, that he can predict where they are. I mean, of course, right? I mean, it can't be anywhere else. Over the huge, vast countryside, this great, vast, sprawling countryside, they can't be anywhere else. Of course, they got to be in that cave, and he gets it first time. So Yulu, who's sort of the love interest between the two, out of nowhere, she falls off a cliff, right? So the film does get a bit bonkers in places. And you see a very nice sort of doll going over the edge here. So we are led to believe that she's died. Out of nowhere, she just falls off this cliff, she dies. So their master dies, and they kill the villain in like a 2 versus 1 fight. Again, some nice, great choreography here. Then we cut back to them where the film started. So this is all happening flashback. That was, like I say, a bulk of the movie. Then we cut back to them sort of now as old men. And then we're in sort of the modern day, as it were. Then Yulu turns up, and obviously she didn't actually die, and wanted to meet them so they could sort of pay their respects. So this guy catches up with Taipei and wants to challenge him, wants to challenge Jack Long's character. Then someone else shows up, kills that guy that was going to challenge him, and then challenges Taipei instead. So this guy turns up to challenge him. He's like, right. Then this other guy turns up but challenges this guy that's challenged Jack Long's character. He kills him, and then this other guy takes him on. It's all sort of a bit of an afterthought. It's almost a bit sort of, we got to have an end fight. We got to do something. I don't know why they had to do that. So for the final battle, the Beggar So character isn't even in it. And of course, Lee Yee-min wasn't playing him anyway. So he sort of just disappears. We don't have Lee Yee-min. We don't have Beggar So. It's just Jack Long's character fighting this other dude. The only trouble with the last scene is, like I say, it has little or no connection to the rest of the film. It has little to nothing to do with it. I know like Yulu turns up and is wanting them to sort of make amends, pay respects and things like that. But that end fight, there's no need for it. It's just like an afterthought. It's just like a fight that's just put in there just for the sake of it, just for having an end fight. So not to say the choreography isn't good, and like I mentioned, Jack Long is amazing as always, and the film ends with Yulu going off and sort of Taipei, Jack Long's character, just shouting her name. So I think you were meant to assume she went off with Beggar So, the Beggar So sort of Sam Seed character. But yeah, it just ends with him sort of shouting her name, and the film basically mainly follows Jack Long's character, so to speak. You could argue maybe he is sort of the lead here. I think what saves the film, like I say, is the great energy Lee Yi-min and Jet Long have together. And though like a Drunken Master rip-off or knock-off, whatever you want to call it, it still holds its own. Like I mentioned, it doesn't follow the same plot points, it doesn't follow the same beats, it doesn't follow that exactly how the original Drunken Master was. And it does, like I say, do something different. It's definitely a Joseph Kyo movie definitely worth checking out. It's definitely one of the better ones from that box set. If you're into your Drunken Master movies and you've seen Drunken Master and you want something more like him, something more similar to a film like that, then you'll be right at home with World of Drunken Master. You'll probably enjoy it as well. Like I say, if you've never seen a Jet Long vehicle as well, just watch how gifted this guy is and the chemistry with him and Lee Yi-min. And it's just a good movie, not a complete step-by-step remake or knockoff of Drunken Master, but quite an almost individual film in its own right, but with that Drunken Master theme running through it. So thank you very much indeed for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review, and I'll see you soon.